Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Speedify Live Office Hours. I'm Alex. This is Mike. And we are here to answer your questions about Speedify. Speedify, the amazing app, here it is, that we're running right now that lets you combine multiple internet connections to get faster, more reliable internet. So this is us live streaming to you right now. So, I've got Ethernet into the Comcast. I've got cellular off this phone. Somebody else's
parent share, right here.
Parent share. Parent share to that phone, right? So we got all these different phones sharing cellular with this computer. I would help if I clicked on the real window, not screen capture of it. I'm totally confused here. All right, Mac. There we go. And then you can see here the live streams. We're streaming, RTMP to YouTube. We're streaming to Twitch, which is where you guys are watching it. And it's fantastic. Gives me, you see sometimes it's using all the connections. What's going on here? Because there's some packet loss. So, Speedify in a nutshell. We're the guys who made it. Ask us questions. All right, David Hunt made the live stream. Got a lot of questions. So here's my questions. I have, that's what David's saying, my laptop and phone and iPad bonded to Speedify. How could I get my phone and iPad to be listed as primary instead of secondary? My primary network connection are my Wi-Fi and Ethernet. All right, you're using parent share. The easiest answer is to, in fact, make the things that are primary secondary as well. If everything's secondary, that's actually the same as them all being primary. That's the quickest answer. All right. I use Ecamm Live as my main tool. Sorry. Hey, we're using Ecamm. We're streaming here with Ecamm Live ourselves. I am drinking out of the Ecamm coffee cup. They are not sponsors or anything.
Not yet.
They just do fantastic software. Ken and Glenn up in Massachusetts. Yeah. Katie and Doc. That's just, I don't know. That's just great company. Good people. Great software. Big fans of Ecamm. No, nobody paid me to say this. So next week, I'm not going to be on the stream because I'm going to be in Barcelona.
Nice.
Woo! Mobile World Congress 2025. Yeah. Mobile World Congress, 100,000 person conference. Wow. On mobile. It's, mobile software companies, the phone makers, the carriers, the case makers. It's everybody, the people who make the chips, right? It's the whole industry gathers. I haven't been since before COVID.
Yep. It's been a long
2017,
time.
2018, wow. 2019. That was my favorite show. And COVID happened.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting back. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Is there any big keynotes that you're excited to listen to?
Very good.
Oh, look at David.
Yeah, I was at Creative Camp. It was fantastic. Yes, you heard me say make everything secondary. That is my big suggestion for you to get it to use all of your connections at the same time. So if anyone else is attending Mobile World Congress in Barcelona next week, tell us. It could be fun. Man, one of the best things about Barcelona, it's in Spain, and everybody just says Gizis right. My last name. No one in the U.S. ever gets it right.
No.
Everybody in Spain, Gizis.
It's a small.
Welcome back, Mr. Gizis. It is the small things, but it's weird. You meet people, they say your name right the first time.
Little double take.
It becomes this weird little double take. Yeah. So it's nice. So we have a cool new Between Two Palms video. I am so happy about how this video came out. We are discussing the interplanetary internet, bundle protocol, how to build a network between Earth and Mars. And this is just one of those things I have been into for years. Wow. For my life, it has no practical use. But Vinton Cerf, who was one of the original inventors of the internet in like 1980, 1981, from Stanford, has, with other people, plotted out how it should work when we network the entire solar system. When there are colonies on every planet, and space stations, and asteroid miners, and drones heading off, and starships zipping around, what should the internet look like then? He figured it out. They wrote the code, and it's actually being used on some of the Mars probes now. It's being used on reindeer in Sweden. Because it turns out reindeer in Sweden wander around for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to reach one, you have these huge latency problems trying to get a message to a reindeer that turns out, strangely enough, to be sort of similar to trying to get a message to Mars. So you should check that video out. It's on YouTube. A link is in the comments. I think it's one of the best videos we've done in a long time. And all right. Yeah. We've got another one that's going to be coming soon about undersea cables, but the Mars one is fantastic, and it's up there right now. Yeah. Cue the Star Wars theme. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, so we end up talking about how Twitter on Mars will work.
Could you imagine a tweet
I can
from
imagine.
Mars?
I talk about.
You could have an IP buddy on Earth. It'd be great.
Yeah. Because the latency to Mars, right, when we're closest, it gets down to 3 minutes. And then it gets up to 12 minutes, and then it goes behind the sun. And that's one-way latency. Your pings will be double that. So basically, none of the internet protocols that we have today work. They're new protocols. The bundle protocol for connecting different internets together. So Earth gets an internet. Mars gets an internet. Jupiter and its moons will be an internet. Right?
I just came in. It's hard to fathom.
Yeah. They're going to be separate internets hooked together by the interplanetary network that sends bundles between the planets. So you can sort of send email, sort of bundling emails with attachments can be sent between the planets, but nothing more interactive than that. Internet on the moon, greater than undersea rural communities. So it's weird. I'll talk about this too. I'm giving away everything. NASA set up a laser communication link to the moon, and they were able to get 622 megabits of raw data on the pipe with 2.5 second round trip latency.
Wow.
What does that mean? That means with this 622 megabit link, if you downloaded a file using TCP/IP, the top speed you could ever get is 80 kilobits per second.
Slow.
Right? The internet when they designed it, and they said, well, if there's a little bit of latency, we can handle it. They never imagined that kind of latency.
Oh, why would they?
So you can use a load balance, right? You can have, 1,000 different TCP sockets, each getting their 80 megabits to use the full 622.
Okay.
But any one download, any one upload, any one video call can't get more than 80 kilobits, right? Even when going over a 600 megabit laser, it's a sort of surprising result. But so it turns out worse than rural America. All right. How would Mastodon work on Mars? All right. Somebody watch the video. That's a giveaway. I talk about that a little bit. You got to bundle up posts and ship them over and then have the software pretend they just got posted. So these sort of social messages where people post messages, they'll work, although there are too many messages for the bandwidth. So it'll have to be the people you actually follow. They'll get bundled up. Maybe the very top posts on the planet will get, bundled up into a bundle and shipped over. I love that discussion about interplanetary internet. Would Speedify be able to help with that? Just as you do with a local planetary network. The IPN is sponsored by Speedify. Yeah. The IPN is sponsored by Speedify. I love that. Our new slogan, right? I have to think. I mean, I think we can do clever things with a file transfer and, hey, we're on a 600. Actually, we do some of this right now. What am I talking about? When Speedify realizes that it's on a very fast link with very poor latency, and we weren't thinking about the moon, we'll actually make 8 different TCP sockets. And when you make one, we'll actually spread your packets out across the 8 so that you can get, so we get 640K. If we thought people were using us over the moon with a 2.5 second delay, I think we changed that code around so we could make 600 sockets, although there must be diminishing returns at some point, right? I think there's a role for Speedify in this universe.
Yes.
I think that we would write a lot of code. I think that as we started sending, combining internet, combining lasers and radio dishes to Mars, we would discover Speedify needs some new features it doesn't have. And we tried them. Seems like a terrible time to hit the government up for a grant.
You'd have a dedicated satellite, not a server.
Maybe a weekly newsletter. This week on MarsNet, right?
I'm in.
Yeah. So a curious thing we don't talk about is the cultural implications, right? So there used to be subcultures in America, right? And all the creativity people noticed came from subcultures. You have these goth people who'd go off, be weird for a few years, and suddenly they'd get big, and everyone listened to emo for a few years, and then they disappear, and we don't, whatever, right? These subcultures would form and end up making creative new things. But it doesn't happen in America anymore because of the internet and how corporate we are. As soon as a subculture starts forming, instantly, there's shops in the mall selling a watered down version of whatever they're trying to do. And so nothing ever takes root in American culture, and the world's culture is getting more and more homogenous, and I dare say less creative. But I think that if you stranded a bunch of people on Mars and they could only get tweets hours later, I think they would be able to get pretty weird.
Some movies that deal with that. I like those.
Yeah. All right. John says, the most important Mars topic. Would Mars Hollywood produce for Netflix Mars? Will Netflix Earth have access to the releases? Right.
You need a VPN for that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm suggesting that the producers on Mars will start making videos like we've never seen. They'll be weird. I can't predict how they'll be weird, but I think a small group of people will wander off. Yeah, it's weird. The smaller the group of people, the faster the culture changes.
Okay.
Which has this weird effect linguistically. We speak more like the British of the year 1500 than the British do. Right? They're on this little island, right?
Oh.
If you listen recordings of Queen Elizabeth when she's young, her accent is different. She had an accent, in the 30s that doesn't exist anymore.
Interesting.
She changed her accent to keep up with how fast the British accent has changed. But you go back to an American back then, it's only the time, there's a bunch of words different, but it hasn't changed much. So you have a bigger population, we change slower. All right. David has a real question. Occasionally, my cell phone asks me if I want to keep cellular connection primary. Should I do that? So, it's just warning you, if you keep it primary or if you make all of your connections secondary, as I recommended, that'll make it stop warning, but the warning still applies. That, you're giving it permission to use as much cellular as it wants, which is fine with us. It's happening less and less, but in the ancient past, we did have people call us angry, saying, Speedify used up all of my cellular for the month. why didn't you warn me? So we added more of these warnings.
Mm-hmm.
I guess more and more people have unlimited plans, especially in the U.S. It's becoming less of an issue, but we put warnings in. Yeah. So, sounds like, yeah, you really want the performance. It's fine. Leave it. All right. So, Speedify 15.4 coming out.
Yes. It's going to be a good one.
Today?
Maybe. Yes. No, it should be coming out today.
All right. So, what's in there?
15.4 is still, I think, just a bunch of stability fixes, minor tweaks that we made. I think 15.5 we're going to see some new additions, but I think 15.4 is just a solid new update that people should get. I think it's a little different on.
I feel like there's a lot in there.
Do you? Maybe I've been I've been in one specific task for about week and a half. So.
All right. Well, it's fantastic. More of the Speedify you love.
Yes.
So as soon as it comes out, you should probably update.
Yeah.
It'll be good. And the Miri Router is out. Woo! Go check that out. It's a piece of professional gear. It's a $1,700 router with 4G, 5G, 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, 4 Ethernet ports, 2 USB ports. You can end out 9 internet connections bonded together on this marvelous device that can be powered by the Sony camera batteries and with NPF batteries. So they're hot swappable. 2 batteries, it only needs 1. So you can put 1 battery in, put another battery, take out the uncharged battery, put it back when it's charged. It is a fun toy in a rugged aluminum case. You can kick the thing around. You can rack mount it. And Miri.tech, MIRI.tech. Just a great device.
It's insane. I mean, the fact that you could carry it around anywhere and you basically can give internet to the whole crowd if you wanted to. It's crazy.
Yeah. That is the plan. So let's see what else. Channel bonding. Boop, boop, boom. Yeah. Like I said, that interplanetary network video, I'm pretty happy with it. I feel like that's a good showcase of our geekiness here. Talking about internet to Mars.
Now we can control the robots. We're going to send them over and we'll be able to remote access them. We can start building stuff for us to come over.
Yeah.
Finally.
So if I were president, controversial opinion, I would end manned space flight.
Because it's not needed anymore.
I would just stop. We're not sending people anywhere. But I would give NASA the same or more money. There are caves on the moon, and we have never sent a robot into them. Nobody has sent a robot to Venus since the Soviets. There are so many planets and holes, and let's just send 200 robots a year. It would be so much cheaper. The amount of safety they do.
That's true.
Right? Checking, double checking. It's not even clear at this point if it makes anything safer, how crazy they get about trying to make sure they don't kill anyone. Let's just send robot after robot. Some of them are going to blow up. It's okay as long as you keep the percentage low. When will Speedify work with quantum entanglement? All right. Quantum entanglement. So, quantum entanglement, a lot of people have been asking me for some reason about this, and whether it can be used to communicate faster than the speed of light. It cannot. It does this weird spooky action at a distance, but you can't use it to pass information. And I'm afraid I don't remember enough quantum to be able to explain why. But that is a fact. Go look up quantum entanglement communicate fast at the speed of light. You will find all sorts of, Caltech physics professors explaining why it can't be used. Unfortunately, the communications by the speed of light is pretty solid. Even quantum stuff doesn't break it. Yeah, there's a weird thing that you can do something to one and the other one instantly reacts faster than the speed of light, but you don't know that that was a reaction to what the other person did until you manage to send a message back.
Which is the speed of light.
like, oh, wait a minute. So it all breaks down, and I'm gonna admit, it's in college I took a bunch of quantum physics, and I felt like I really understood it. Now I only remember the important points. I don't remember the details. Yeah. I also remember thinking at the time, reading the equations, there's no multi-universes. That is not what the equations are saying. Also, that I didn't think there were any observers, but I need a real physicist here to. I think it's just mass. I think you run into a heavy object. The observer isn't that the person is seeing things. You read the description of quantum physics and you think that the observer is like that somehow the human soul is what's making the waves collapse. I think it's the weight of your head. I think it's literally the mass that is collapsing the waveforms. But kind of talking about my butt now. Once upon a time, I had a good argument that involved equations, but I don't remember the equations anymore. I'm old, in my 50s. Also, I learned another important lesson. When they're taking blood and they say, don't move your arm, don't move your arm. I know, some of you are thinking, it's cool, you can still move your arm. Why do you need to listen to that lady who stuck the needle in? Turns out you should listen. So that was fun. All right, 10:25. Other than David, anyone and John, anyone got any questions? We are here for you. Post them in the comments. We'll answer. Stick around a little longer. And so what are you working on now?
So yeah, if we're allowed to say so, Speedify in the next coming release will be able to communicate with your Starlink dishes a little bit better. So we're going to be able to get messages from the dish itself to warn you when you're obstructed. We'll be able to tell the actual bandwidth going through the device to the dish on the top wherever you have it. And that'll give you a few things to look at. How Speedify doing in relativity to what your dish is saying it's doing. If you're seeing poor speeds or latency, maybe your dish is obstructed, overheating. We're going to be able to tell you that right in the user interface now. So a little less guessing, you could maybe...
You can connect to multiple Starlinks.
Yes.
And we'll talk to each of them and tell you which ones are obstructed and which ones are overheated. This is so cool. I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, it's going to be real fun.
That's awesome.
And, as more satellites come, hopefully we'll just be able to take on the same code and talk to those, Kuiper, things like that.
Hematoma.
John loves it, yeah.
Yeah. So has anyone been watching the show The Pit?
Is that any good?
Oh my God, it is so good. It is so stressful. It is like real time in an emergency room drama. Okay. Anyway, there's a guy with hematoma and they poke a hole in it and blood just sprays. Just a fantastic show. Very, very stressful.
Is that on Max?
All right. So, yeah, I think it's on Max. Yes, it's on Max. With the proliferation of AI in the tech space, is Speedify utilizing AI in any way? We play with it a lot. I mean, I guess you could answer. Why don't you take this one, Mike?
Yeah, sure. I mean, right now in our real world code, we're using it for our translations. It's cheap, it's easy, it knows how we want the translations to go. In the future, I mean, we're utilizing AI in terms of kind of seeing where it's going, talking to it about some of the problems that we would like to solve, some of the paths that AI think we should go, and kind of just seeing where it's at. It's really good at things like, writing scripts, validating things. I do think there is going to be really great use of it in the near future. I don't think it's quite there yet.
So Brian, our CTO, he really uses it. Mm-hmm. He just, whenever he has an idea, he asks it if this is a good idea. Does it have better ideas for doing this? Mm-hmm. And he just chit chats with it before he says, I have this idea to do this. What other ideas do you have? And just back and forth. And how would you do this? And there he is. And it seems really cool when he does it. I don't know. When I do it, I play with it, and at first I'm like, this is really cool. And then after a while, I'm like, is this actually helping me any?
I think it's all in the way you prep it too.
I think I'm just wasting my time.
Well, it's the way you prep it. So a lot of these new AI models, you do projects and you could feed them the relative information references of your project you want to ask questions, and they could actually make more informed decisions with, of course, your help.
Nice. Brian said yesterday it came up with a Prometheus query that was better than the top 6 Stack Overflow questions about what I was after. Nice. So Prometheus is this tool for monitoring and databasing how all your servers are doing, right? So that's really
I think that's a great question. Everybody said, "Oh, AI is coming; it's going to affect developers," and they said the same thing about Google. You can't do this without Google and Stack Overflow, and I think it's just streamlining the information we would normally search
Stack Overflow. They're just done, right? That was like one of the best websites. You could go there, ask any technical question, and people would answer it. And it's just done. People are just asking the AI now. Right?
They probably trained a bunch of those AI models, but absolutely.
Yeah, I think they finally reached a deal to sell all the answers they had to the AI models because they were going to get stolen anyway. So yeah, Speedify, by the way, posted a link to a video, which is Mike and I talking about DeepSeek. And there's cool stuff in there, including the fact that you can take DeepSeek, which is a sort of Chinese knockoff, whatever, of ChatGPT, and you can actually take a small version of it and run it on a Raspberry Pi. So much people are like worried about DeepSeek. It's the Chinese one. Don't talk to it. The Chinese are stealing your data. They give you an option to download the whole thing, and you can disconnect it from the internet and have a little AI you can talk to that can't talk to the internet. It works. So John asked, how many AIs does Mike have that aren't connected to the internet?
I keep my Raspberry Pi, the one that I'm experimenting on my desk, not connected to the internet for when I need to. I like to update the models and as they come and see how they're working. The Pi is not that powerful to put the biggest, greatest models on there, but it does a really great job. But I'm very excited this week. Anthropic came out with their updated 3.7 Sonnet, which is, I think it's the best AI model out there. I think it's the most underrated, but really exciting news this week from them.
I hear a lot about Claude.
Yeah, Claude, Anthropic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay.
So it came out with 3.7, and they're really taking their time.
Used it.
I think it's the smartest coding AI that you could possibly go to. It's less involved with creating AI agents or creating this, ecosystem amongst itself, but it's the smartest and it's the most unlimited. They don't let you just pound on it for hours, even with a paid subscription. You're only limited to so many because I think how smart it is, how much power it's using. So
yeah,
Claude is awesome.
Even this year, there have been, we're still in February, right? I mean, the chain of thought stuff where they force it to talk through the steps it's going to do first, and that makes it more accurate. The deep research stuff where it tries to find sources to make sure that it checks whether or not it's hallucinating and gives you a link to the
all
document
the
that backs it up. Like, okay, that I don't know. My doubts about AI and how smart it is are crumbling, right? They're fixing like a thing a month.
I couldn't imagine what they're
a year from now. Holy cow. So, we'll see. We will see. What do it tell us through your laptop? Fear is the mind killer. It's going to escape.
It will. Yeah. No. Pretty soon, everything you've
literally got a demon bottled inside.
I saw the
Raspberry
videos.
Pi on your desktop. It's a genie, right? You rub it.
Did you see the videos of the AI robot that got aggressive in China? I don't even know if the videos I watch are real anymore, but it was
they're probably
scary.
Not. Oh, they're probably not, but
I know. That's why I can't even scroll the internet. I'm like, is this real? I can't tell. I don't know.
Man. The new police robots in China, I think these videos are real about, it's pretty much like a truck tire full of electronics, including, weapons sticking out the side. Rolls around by itself and its old gyroscopes. You knock it over, it just pops back up.
Could you imagine that showing up to your house? Oh, no thanks.
You can't stop the signal. Hey! Good Serenity reference. That's such a good movie. Speaking of underrated movies, Serenity,
Yeah.
I know the director is now canceled, but it's still a great movie. I highly recommend it. It's the ending of the TV series Firefly.
Okay.
It stands. I actually watched the movie and said that was great. I got to find this TV show. Watch the TV show, then watch the movie. And it was a totally different experience because now I knew who all these people were. But you can watch it by itself, and I think that's probably a pretty good way to do it. Actually, just watch the ending, then come back, and it was only half a season. Horrific.
Was the TV show good?
The TV show was good.
Okay.
I thought it was great. Interestingly, my brother, who loves science fiction perhaps more than I do, didn't like it.
Okay.
He thought the heroes of the show were just a little too Confederate. Fair enough, right? So it's that years after the rebellion failed. The former rebels are now losers on this broken down ship trying to make a living and trying to get some respect. And the war is long over. There's no point in rebelling any longer. The evil empire won. And it's a good show. I wonder if watching it would hit a little differently today than it did back then. But it's a good show. Yeah, interesting. My brother assumed they were Confederates. Perhaps you watch it today and assume they're Democrats. I don't. Might be, might change based on the cultural context.
True. Yeah.
All right, but we are here at 10:35, and I think we have run out of support questions because Speedify works so great. You are all completely happy. I've decided. All right. Thank you, Mike. Thank you to everybody who watched. We're gonna go back and try to get you an improved version of Starlink now that includes improved version of Speedify that includes much better Starlink integration. All right. You're welcome, David. We are here to protect your live stream. That's what we do.
It's a good slogan.
Oh, that's what I do.
We're here to protect your lives.
That's another Serenity quote.
Alex is on. He's going to go back and watch it tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that tonight. That's correct. All right, except it's Will's birthday, so I guess I can't.
You going rock climbing?
I am not going rock climbing because I sprained my calf last week.
Still hurts? Still out of commission?
Yeah, so I'm almost okay. I can walk fine, but I've been told by the doctor to stay out of the gym for 2 more weeks, so no rock climbing. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you. I won't see you next week, but other people will be here. So in general, see you next week. Later. Oh, wait, that's not the button I'm supposed to press. This is the button.